So what we're going to do on this recipe, which I changed my mind after I looked at all my ingredients. First I was going to call it stuffed peppers with red quinoa and vegetables, but seeing that there are so many vegetables, I'm switching the whole thing around, and you'll see what everything looks like when we get done. But what you have to do is the pepper. These little peppers, see? They're so cute. Just cut it off here, like so, and take out the seeds and a little bit of the meat that's on the inside. And we're going to saute this very quickly and hot, just to soften them up a little. Meanwhile, we have the cilantro has been measured, and the ingredients will be listed. Everything that's on the board here, of course not the red quinoa, but everything here will be tossed in a skillet, very hot, cooked very quickly, and at the last second, because you don't want to destroy the zucchini, which no seeds in the zucchini, please, it'll make it too watery. So we're going to saute that fast. And as far as herbs go, you know what? I like the flavor of every one of these items, and I don't want to put herbs. I think people go crazy with herbs for the last 10 years. When you make a dish and you season it with something, the person eating it should not be able to pick out what's in there and only say to you, whoa, this is really good, what did you put in there? Then you know that you did a good job of seasoning, because nowadays the herbs that people put in there overpower so much of this fresh taste. So this one, I'm not using any herbs. I have nothing against the herbs, but today I'm not doing it. It's going to be easy. Olive oil, saute, salt and pepper, and then saute the peppers, very hot flame. Chop up the cilantro. I like the flavor. If you don't like it, use parsley. If you want to put something else in there, you can do it. But this is my suggestion on this item. And when it's all finished, I'll present the plate, and you'll see how nice it is, and it can be eaten either hot or cold. If you're going to eat it cold, I would spritz a few drops of balsamic vinegar or a little dressing into the mixture. Okay, let me get started. By the way, if you have a chopper that you like to use it. I like to do it by hand, and the cut, today's cut, because the quinoa is small like rice, and it's cooked like rice. You want everything to be small, not to be big chunks of peppers or mushrooms or broccoli. Everything is small because the quinoa is small. Alright, that's all the explanation. Let's get started. Now we're going to cook the quinoa to get that out of the way, because you need that to be finished, and then when the vegetables are sauteed, you just toss everything together. It doesn't have to be washed, even though it has been washed prior to packaging, because it has a coating on it which prevents insects and birds from eating the quinoa. So I rinse it again anyway, and you can smell some of that coating, I would assume, or it's just the quinoa that smells when I'm rinsing it. But just to play safe, and if nothing wrong with rinsing it one more time. And you cook it like rice, so I'm putting just 1 teaspoon of salt, and I'm also going to put some sriracha hot sauce. Why? Because I don't have my pepper yet. Still haven't built up my library of ingredients after Sandy. Now, a few things. When you're cooking rice like this, I'm doing it on top of the stove, thick bottom skillet with a very tight fitting lid. You cook it like rice, it could go from a cup and a half, the ratio 1 to 1.5 to 2. So I'm using water because this is a vegan type dish. If I was making, there are times when I would use a vegetable stock you can use if you want to make it, but there's so many vegetables here. And also chicken stock, beef stock, whatever you like. So I'm going shy of a little 2 cups, actually a cup and a half. You know why? This lid fits very tight, which means all that moisture is going to stay in the pan. You're not going to lose any. So, and when these little, there's a terminology for it, but I forgot what it is. When you see in the quinoa, when you see these little white legs pop out, then you know you're done. But taste it. You don't want to overcook it. It could have a little firmness to it. So we'll cover this up, get it going, and then lower the flame to a simmer. So this should take the same amount of time as rice takes. 12, 15, 17 minutes. Even though I've done it before, I don't remember all these things. So therefore you put a low flame and you come back in 10 minutes, you look at it, come back in 5 more minutes, look at it. That's all you have to do. Now we get the pan hot, get ready, put the vegetables in there with a little salt, not much. I don't go crazy for salt. Remember, the last thing to go in will be the zucchini. All of this will cook, and you don't want it to be soft. You want to have a little crunch. No reason to overcook the vegetables. A little bit of salt. I'm going to add a little hot sauce to that. Maybe when it's just about done. As you can see, it's very hot. And this will take a few minutes, not long. The color's good. What I could use in there, I was supposed to put in there some red pepper for color too. And you know what? I can always add it just about at the end. So let's say I put 1/3 cup of red pepper. So we'll just shut this off for a second and get it. Okay, so that took me about a minute. As you can hear, I didn't lose much heat there. And you know, when you're cooking, sure, taste is important, but a nice appearance. Now look how that helped. I mean, I know the carrots are orange, but red peppers stand out a little better. So we have nice color. Oh, there's many other vegetables you could put into this. You could have taken some fresh string beans, mix them in there, asparagus, cauliflower, like it's whatever you really like, you can put in there. And this is going to be actually the bed on the plate, and I'm going to arrange these stuffed peppers with the quinoa on this. That's just about right. And when I add the zucchini, I'm also going to add the sriracha hot sauce, or you use pepper, whatever. Just a little of this, the zucchini, and then we're going to shut it off. Because this is done. That's it, no more fire. Very good. Now we'll just wait for the quinoa to finish cooking. Now I'm going to put half of the minced up cilantro into the vegetables, and the other half is going into the quinoa. So the quinoa will have a nice flavor, since all the vegetables are going to be on the plate. And again, if you wanted to put fresh basil in here in place of the cilantro or parsley, whatever you like. So what we have to do is to taste this now. Pleasant, and that's a good thing. Nothing's bitter, overpowering. I could just eat like 4 platefuls of just this for dinner. Last thing to do is to get those peppers, very high flame. Let that get nice and hot, because this is going to be, I want to get a little color on them. And not to overcook them. We'll just put a little salt and we'll stand here and toss them until they're ready. Very high flame. If I had my grill going, my barbecue, I would put them on the barbecue. Or you can put them in the oven, in the broiler, to give them some color. I don't feel like bending down or opening the door. So we're going to go this route. Put my olive oil in a sriracha container. It's better than all those store-bought things that I've had in the past for leakage. And just a little salt. Looks like I didn't let it get hot enough. I don't hear any sizzling. Come on, sizzle. And you don't want to cover this either, because then you'll be like steaming it. So anyway, I'm not going to waste film just to watch this. As you see, the flame is high. Just get it where they softens just slightly. You don't want mushy or mushy pepper. Some people like it softer, so you cook it a little bit more. I like it a little al dente. That's the sound I should have had when I started. Anyway, color or no color, just get them a little bit soft. As you see, it's smoking, and I was impatient. I wanted to get them in there and get done. But I should have had the pan smoking like this, and then dropping them in. See, we're getting nice color, and they're still very, very firm, but that's good. And you're going to be picking these up in your fingers and eating them. Or maybe you won't. I like that. Nice color. Just gives it that almost grilled flavor when you do it like this. Or any vegetable. I love doing asparagus this way. Or broccoli. And that is just about enough for me. They're firm. You could cook them a few more minutes. But as I said, I like to have them al dente. So now we'll put this off to the side onto a plate. And we'll be awaiting the quinoa, which looks like, take a look at that. Cut that off. You see those little white protrusions there? Just about ready. So what I'm going to do is raise the flame a little. Remember I said you cook it like rice, could be 1 to 1.5 to 2. I should have left it to 1 to 1.5. So now I'm leaving the lid off to let that cook down, because I don't want to have any water in there. And that should be ready in a couple of minutes. Of course, I always forget something that was on my mind. The 2 last ingredients, one for crunch, that'll be the toasted almond, slivered almonds, and also dried cranberries for that nice sweet taste or tart taste, plus a little color in there. Now I'm happy. That's what I like. Still waiting for the quinoa. It's coming along, as you see. I covered it again because it's getting very close to being finished. The quinoa for me is done. I don't want mushy. I didn't have to drain it. There's only a little moisture left in there, so I'm leaving the flame on low. Let this really dry out for a few minutes. Then I'm going to toss in the cilantro, a little olive oil, and when I taste it I go, you know what, I taste too much salt. So on the recipe I cut that 1 teaspoon for this down to a 1/2 teaspoon. But if you notice, it's just like wild rice. Wild rice should not be overcooked. It should have a little firmness to it. And so should this. Now I'll put the cilantro in there. Shut off the flame. Get my wooden spoon so I don't scratch up, even though it's not coated. No reason to scratch that metal. And just another shot. As I tasted it, I really didn't get any heat out of it. So a few more drops of sriracha hot sauce. Mix this up. Okay, now what are we going to do with this? We're going to stuff the peppers. So very easily, with something small, because the hole is small. So I'll use my little measuring spoon, and what we're going to do is just stuff the, see now how nice and soft they are, but still firm. I'm going to stuff the peppers. I think this spoon is a little bit too big. Put it in. It's a little hot. I'm going to get a smaller measuring spoon. And this will work. So you don't want anybody around when you're doing this who's going to say, oh, that is sloppy, messy. So I will just tell you that I'm going to do this one. Pack it in there. Okay, clean it up a little. Continue doing them all, and then we will take a look at the finished plate. As usual, I said what I was going to do, but I didn't do it because I'm always in a rush to get this film done. A little olive oil, extra virgin now on that, because it's not going to be cooked and you get the full flavor of the extra virgin. Thank you. So there's a couple of ways of serving this. If you're going to put it out on a buffet, you make a platter, put the vegetables, run the peppers around it. If you want an appetizer, Or if you're going to eat it as a main course, this one. And what we have left over after all of that is that much quinoa, except for the 4 mouthfuls I ate while I'm making this, and of course the vegetables, because that's enough there to have 2 main course plates. Anyway, if you're an eater of grains, you will love this stuff. So I hope you enjoy.